So, the time's finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Susato. Miss Susato? Oh. Oh no, what's the matter? Nothing. I was just saying that I'll be relying on your support today, but I'm so sorry. Of course, I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down. Would you mind helping me to my feet then? Oh dear, I'm really very sorry. Susato isn't her usual self at all. But that's hardly surprising, I suppose. She's just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective, not to mention... Good morning, sir. Lord Van Zykes. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. Wow, did I hear that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. I really can't make this man out. His face says, I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Lord Van Zykes isn't the Reaper. Good point. The Reaper? I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit. That's a word. I know that's a word. Tacit acceptance of the pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zykes. It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. That having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yeah, we've heard that story too. When I lost him, I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public. He was so obviously extremely important to you, Lord Clint Van Zykes. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life, and I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes, that burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Oh, Iris, when did you get here? Oh. I brought you one of my special blends. Hurley loves it. He says it helps him clear his head. I thank you. That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris. Oh, sort of. Subdued, I suppose? I am not. What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Scythe's laboratory. All right then. Good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying? I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings. Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready. Get ready for what? Oh, yes. Would you take this? Isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack? Yes, it's a lucky charm, a little Hurley that I made once. A Hurley? Looks more like a Hairly to me. If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can. What? Pull his ears? That's right, it's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it. You think what we'll need is luck? I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom, and it seemed very different to normal. Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean? What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning. Oh, I see. Was Professor Mikotoba out all night too, do you think? Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all. They? Father and Judge Jigoku, I mean. Judge Jigoku too? That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once. Good luck then, Bruno. Good luck, Susie. Yeah, thanks, Iris. And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well. Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing. Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zykes. Lord Van Zykes has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court, but not today. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Sogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Now I understand what it is that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. It feels even more oppressive in here than it did yesterday. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. Mr. Naruhodo, look! Lord Strongheart? Kazuma must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundation of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, Male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. The 6 jurors' flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here represented in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zykes. You are a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Damn! In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. For the trial of Barak van Zykes, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought a light to a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim. Oh, yeah, Inspector Tobias Gregson that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice. Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinner's. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed 1 day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on the 31st of October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday that the time of death was 5 p.m. on the 1st of November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes, especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. State your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Gina Lestrade reporting. Representative O Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina, again? What's your problem, Odo? What's with that, Gina, again? Look, hey? The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did. Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina. Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes. No. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face. Lord Strongheart knew. So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report. Coming right up, sir. All yard detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But a little search at the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too. Smuggled goods? I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book. Tobacco, tea, spices, medicine, goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place at the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets? It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority without the yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about this. Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Barack Van Zykes, was present. That would be very significant testimony then. Oh my, but Lord Van Zykes has made no mention of this at all. In short, Lord Van Zykes had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Very well, then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination. Okay. Well, okay, with the meeting, according to his... Well, okay. Any more on that? Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place? Yup. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember. As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary. What? It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings. I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. And I could too. I've got this reading game buttoned up now. Can't I show you what I can do? Go on. What's the arm? The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? Yeah, what's the name? Maybe we know it. This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. Kazuma? There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive. Right then, I get to show off my reading skills, or me reading skills. Apparently the smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called The Groose. Wait, did we... Oh, who is this from? Oh god. Oh, Professor Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark, sweet, whatever. Oh, is it just me that it doesn't make it sound extremely untrustworthy? I do wish he'd at least called you a nice young man. I'm really not sure that would help. He wrote it on the back of the ticket? Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Groose, first cabin class 1. Yokohama departure September 11th, or London arrival 1st of November. That's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Yes, I think it was called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving at Dover. I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. Seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary, and I keep mine in my wallet so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose? Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Okay, was there something else that was... Okay, so apparently, what was it? He smuggled on the gentleman's club called the Groose. They were in this black market smuggling? I feel like there was something else I missed. Oh. Okay, maybe we'll hold off on it. She said when you really need it, tug the ears. You mean this one? I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Groose? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on the 31st of October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards your country's our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. Oh, this would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse. Or Grouse? Is it Grouse? Maybe it's Grouse? I feel like that makes a little bit more sense. Like, does it look like a grouse? So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived at port of Dover on the 1st of November. Oh. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, the 31st of October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission, that ship hadn't docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging. The fact that the steamship hadn't reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the 31st of October with his passport, right? Within 1 week? His passport. What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim? Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just 1 day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? I'm impressed, Ryunosuke. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution's strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Asogi? A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? Order! What on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed, as I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was obviously an assassination. Barack Van Zykes never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi, which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson? What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. No, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zykes. No, not the true Reaper. No, not. The true Reaper is somebody else. Barack Van Zykes is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm sure we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on the ship. But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? Inspector Gina Lestrade. Huh? What? The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. that doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey. You're lying. Even if all them bludges what got taken out in attic coming. The boss weren't the Reaper. Oh, poor Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you've spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors. I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it. Then testify again as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss. I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was the 31st of October. It said grouse for a place on that date and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal, what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or summit. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all. Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke. What can't I deny? The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. So, who was to be his final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on 31st of October. Eh? Oh, how do you read this then? Reading's still not her strong suit. But that ain't the problem, alright, Odo. It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read. So it's someone from overseas? Let me have a bash at it. Seishiro? Is it? Yeah, Seishiro? Yo, maybe. What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku? But that's Judge Jigoku? Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name. You're right. But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hadn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Oh. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector. Personally. But what if Judge Jigoku found out that he was that this guy was gonna kill him, or not gonna kill him, but maybe he tried to kill him, but I don't know, Gregson missed or something, he had like the stormtrooper aim. I'm about to call him Stormcloak. The stormtrooper aim, right? And then Judge Jigoku has his own gun or some way to defend himself. And he shot him, and then he died. So then I guess maybe they were covering it up. Maybe the dad knew that he killed someone, and they were just covering it up. And as I said, he came in, and they took a picture, right? They took a picture, and I think I said before that this trunk right here, it looked big enough to maybe hold a person. And he said because he's a diplomat, they don't check his luggage, which I think is a big oversight. What? Does this not look if you crumple him, if you fold him like a folding chair, or put him in the fetal position, he could probably fit in there, I think. So I'm going to assume maybe he didn't kill him, he missed, and Jigoku and Judge Jigoku killed him somehow. Not somehow, he probably shot him and then he died. And then he's like, oh shit, we gotta cover this up, because what the fuck. So then he stuffs him in there, and I don't know what, maybe he puts him on ice. I don't know what the hell. Maybe he somehow stuffed him in the freezer, in the fridge, somehow. And then he just dumped him on Fresno Street. The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Barack Van Zykes. It's an undeniably logical argument. Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you? Damn, he does it even in the dock. Pray forgive the discourage. Also, he has this drink. You think they take that shit away? You think they take his hallowed chalice away if he's getting accused of murder? Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder. Lord Van Zykes? The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective. Eh? What? Nah, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard around the yard, reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony, it's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say? Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance. My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. He is not having it. Very well, I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Where'd you get another one? Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately. At once, my lord. Oh, I thought he was giving the testimony. So what did he get up to in these past 10 years? In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper. Not you and all, that ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and the notebook said what he figured out, or found out. If I may, when originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. One arm? What are you on about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you at its head? I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I've been able to check the most recent entry in this book. I knew the location. You knew it said grouse? Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone. Oh, so that explains why several members of the club claimed to have seen you there. But, of course, the inspector was not there, because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook. Fine. Is something wrong? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago. Oh, no, it's all right. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular? Well, beside the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up. What other name was that? It's the one I told you yesterday, the same name written over and over again. You mean Asa Shin? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, is she? Were you even listening yesterday? Asa Shin, the assassin. What? Like a killer, you mean? Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying? If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organization or an organized group of vigilantes. Oh, then perhaps what it said on the passport document, permission for the application and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been clearly the assassin who was meant to take Seishiro Jigoku's life? Gina, can you confirm that against the final entry at that listed grouse and Seishiro Jigoku? What name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry I didn't have that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens. What? It just had like a question mark or something there, I think. In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not? Oh, how infuriating. A nameless assassin? And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku. That's what it said. Funny name if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd. So pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago, studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. So Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, after that fateful case. Precisely. In the aftermath of the professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in ears got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking. What do you mean, a criminal? Judge Jigoku is no criminal? Well, don't ask me. I know nothing about it. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the professor case, I'm sure. Yes, of course, you're right. Oh, right, he said he, defended some, and he got, arrested for something. What's that thing that you can get arrested for? Contempt of court, or something like that? Like, if you're being too rowdy, you can get arrested for it. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took the stand to testify, but he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness's stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. It was a pitiful situation, yes. I've forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens. You did? It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see, but he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage he caused to the stand. And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. What? No. Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after the trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is. Come on, that's absurd. To take someone's life for that? Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd? Killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly, the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. But... right, I've had just about enough of this. Gina? All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people. It's cobblers. Come on, Odo. Yes? Why ain't you saying nothing? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something? What? You gotta find a flaw. You do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You've gotta work out who it is. Please, for the boss. That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear? I've had it with a lot of ya. It's lies every bleeding place ya look in this world, innit? Well, I've had enough. So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind. To do what? There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd. Oh, do you mean? I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. Find a flaw? Well, I guess we need more information just asking for help. I can't really help if there's no... I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. Eh? What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency? Really? I don't quite know what it means yet, but... yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... It was like when... okay, I don't know if I can go back that far, though. Oh, no. There was... yeah, it doesn't go that far. I think it was something that he said, that Kazuma said. And then we got like a little like, huh? Like, what the heck was that? And then Susato was like, what? Is something wrong? And he's like, no, I don't think so, but maybe. I think it was something that he said. By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me? Is this some attempt at filibustering, counsel? Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, counsel. Go ahead. Oh, can we see what was said? What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something he said? But what did he say? Shit. Maybe this? Like, who did this? This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? A blood stain? And a relatively fresh one, too. What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips? Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. Oh, so like he brought it there, but then it's like, oh, how did it manage to find its way to this house, maybe? That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it, me, with me nose for trouble. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship dock. Oh, because he knew about the passport, like he saw inside of it, but he shouldn't have. It's shown by the passport. Oh. Right, so he shouldn't have been able to see the passport unless he found this thing first. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else could he have put his passport? But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On the 31st of October, where exactly were you? At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke? Kazuma, what did you... I was about to say, what did you do? That'd be even crazier if he's the one who did it. I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it can only have been for one purpose. Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo, surely you don't think... Come on, Ryunosuke, you know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always looked at that case with him, or took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing. Oh, is it because the sword is his sword? Are you challenging me to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? That you were there that day in the same place as the inspector? He was there with Gregson? There's a clue that you've overlooked, a secret that trunk can tell us. I can't be sure at this point, I'll need to verify it, but I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. It's this sword. I have to open it, I think. This looks like a piece of his katana. There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade. A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karuma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom? For all to see? What if he got it fixed? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Asogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. Oh no! The tip is broken. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asogi. Expertly done, Ryunosuke. That's a point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi? Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. What? What? You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku? Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it? You can believe Kazuma, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan. You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin? Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us that you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to London the following morning. A boarding house? In Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then, what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder. But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I chose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. We must take immediate action now to verify whether Seishiro Jigoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed? I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you... When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zykes? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now? Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst. Oh no, not Judge Jigoku. No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only arrived in the country. Except that is... for the Reaper, wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake, my lord, I sincerely hope we are successful. If we're unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, you will face grave difficulties. Court is adjourned for 30 minutes.